As we start, we always begin with our body. It's the most manifest or least subtle of our experience, the layers, the way that we experience ourselves. When we begin with our body, it's relatively easy to tune into the body. It's muscles and bones and sense perceptions and all of that type of thing. So notice if there's something that's attracting your attention right at the start. Sometimes it will be some feeling of contraction or tightness in the body. There might be pain. There could be a lovely sensation too, although that's probably not as common as the contracted ones. Notice how it is that your body is positioned in space. If you're lying down, notice the sense perceptions along the back of your body, back of your head, the whole muscles of the upper back. And there's usually a gap in the lower back. You can't really feel anything unless you've got something like a blanket underneath you that's pressing up. So go from the shoulder blades to the hips, the buttocks, the back of the legs, the calves, the heels. Notice how our bodies know where we're situated, partly through the sense perceptions of touch and connection with the ground or the earth. If you're lying on your side or if you're sitting up or standing up, it would be a different situation. And the mind often has a mental picture as well. So if you tune into the mental picture that you have, you might have like a photograph type of picture, or you might have a silhouette, either light silhouette in dark space or dark silhouette in light space. It's really interesting to notice how it is that our minds do this in our bodies through our sense perceptions and our visual system. So let the whole of your back body settle. Let yourself really be supported by the floor. Also in the back of the body, we can have that sense of guarding ourselves. See if you can allow that to release as well for the period of this practice, to notice that if there's activation in the back of the body, perhaps we could let that lighten a bit or loosen up a bit. We know that our system's set up to bring that back immediately if we need it, so we don't really need to keep it going on a more chronic level. We could let that release. And the way that we do that is really through mindfulness. We notice that it's activated and we take a couple of deep breaths and let that go. Let it release, let it stand down from its guard duty. We really don't need to be guarding our back when we're safe in our environment. And as you exhale, notice yourself getting more and more settled, more able to release and relax into the environment. Notice how your body breathes. When we turn our attention to the breath, we can have an impact on the breath. If we're breathing quite shallow or up in the chest, when we notice that, we could allow our stomach to relax. Notice that breathing pattern can settle and release contraction out of the body. And when we're not paying attention to the breath, it just kind of comes along on its own. Our breath is very much affected by the habits that we have developed over the years in our bodies. So as we do breathing practice and bring mindfulness to our breath, those habits also start to transform. As you're exhaling, notice that your whole body likes to release on the breathing out part of the breath.
If
you take a couple of longer exhales, 6 seconds or more is ideal. It activates the whole relaxation response in the parasympathetic nervous system. Allow yourself to take a few long, deep breaths out. And then bring your attention to the whole front of your body and the sides of your body. Notice if there's any unnecessary tightness, anything that you could soften a bit. When we soften the forehead and the eyebrows, our thoughts tend to settle a bit as well. Even taking 20 seconds to focus on your forehead can bring a lot of layers of muscles into softness. So release, let that go. Really soften through the forehead and the eyes. The jaw and the mouth. Check that your teeth aren't tightly together. Give them some room. Notice the flow of breath in the nostrils. There's that feeling of the air flowing over the membranes in the nose. Sometimes when we breathe in, we can feel that flow through the back of the throat, maybe even down into the neck a little bit before it's warmed up enough that we can't feel it anymore. And then we can feel the lungs expand, the lower ribs expand, the stomach rises a bit, and then it releases on the out-breath. One of the most effective things we can do when the mind is very compelling is to really focus our attention closely on the breath, and in particular the continuity of our breathing. So as soon as you're finished your exhalation, notice how the stomach is softened, everything is moving back towards the floor, and then move right into the inhalation. Don't let there be any gap or pause in the breath or in your attention. Keep your attention very sharply focused on the breath. As soon as you're finished inhaling, don't hold the breath. Trust that there will be another one coming in a few seconds. Let it go. Let your whole body relax as you breathe out. Right into the inhale when you're ready. Keep your mind focused on the transition points as you go from inhaling to exhaling. Notice the turnaround. Don't let there be a long gap or pause. Just let the breath turn around into the exhalation. The parasympathetic nervous system gets engaged, breathing out slowly. And notice how the stomach releases and relaxes, and then how it softens a bit more, and then a bit more. And bring this softness of the stretch into the inhalation as you're breathing in. Notice how that happens. Keep your mind very focused on the breath. See if you can enjoy that process of relaxing and breathing, keeping your mind focused on that breath. Come back up to the forehead and the eyes, the eyebrows, corners of the eyes, the deep muscles of the eyes. Notice the cheeks and the nose, the corners of the mouth and the lips. The tongue, the hinges of the jaw, the whole mechanism of speech. There's no need for action through speech at the moment. Allow that whole area, including your vocal cords and the front of the throat, to deeply relax. If you notice there's any lingering tightness in the forehead or the eyebrows, allow that to soften even more. Check in with the back of your neck and your shoulders, to the shoulders and down into the arms. Down into your hands and fingers. There's no need for action through the arms and hands. So let that relax. Notice the energy in the palms of your hands and how it feels a bit different than the energy in your backs of your hands, your elbows, your upper arms. Notice if you can feel your fingertips. And then bring your attention back again to the front of the body, forehead, eyebrows, jaw, the throat, down into the chest and stomach. Keep going down through the front of the legs, the top of the feet, the toes, the soles of your feet. Let your legs really relax. Often with the large muscle groups in the body, we can feel the muscles themselves. There might be a sense of fatigue or something from what we were doing over the weekend. There might be some kind of pain in the legs or feet. They might just feel rested and relaxed. Notice what your experience is and notice how we're observing that experience. And then bring your attention to the whole of your body again, head to toes. Notice how we can narrow our gaze and really focus in on a particular spot. And then we can bring our gaze a bit wider and notice our whole body again. And that whatever we're observing, we are always having sensations and energies, thoughts about that. There's all kinds of responses to wherever it is that we put our attention. Generally, the mind worries more about contraction or tightness or pain. And so there's more of a reaction to that. And as we remember, we can take that step back into the witness or observer. And when we bring our attention to the conditions that are going on in the thoughts, that's another arena in which we can observe what's going on. Not the content in particular, but the process that's happening. There's this fluid interplay between sensation, words, images, memories, worries. The mind and the body are one system. And part of the safety mechanism, the survival system, is to over-notice danger and contraction, anything that might not be safe, and to not so much put our attention on things that are pleasant or happiness, joy, those types of things. But we can bring our mindfulness to that. For a moment, noticing what it is that's in your experience right now that's positive. Maybe even bring something to mind, or maybe it's a feeling in your body that you could enjoy for a moment. Even if the mind has been dragging you off 97% of the time, focus on the 3% for a moment. Add some momentum to the positive side. Just by paying attention. What is there to enjoy right now in your own life, in your own experience in this moment? What is there to enjoy? And then watch what's happening in your mind as you consider that, as you contemplate. You maybe appreciate or enjoy the experience. And the mind might be up to all kinds of arguments about why it's not a good time to focus on something to enjoy. But that's just thought in the mind. We can see it as that when we're noticing it. Let that be in the background for a moment. Notice what it is in your experience right now that you could enjoy. It might be something very small. Maybe it's the flow of the breath in the nose, or the feeling of support along your back. Maybe it's this opportunity you've given to yourself to relax and rest. We can have appreciation for ourselves that we've made this commitment and we've come. We're doing this practice. Just for another minute or so, not to pay attention to any counter arguments. Just focus on the enjoyment. Whatever there is right now, it might be something in your life, a person might have come to mind. Maybe it's the absence of a person. Maybe it's nature, being out walking, or this feeling of sun on your face. Whatever it is for you, pay attention to that and notice your whole body from head to toes as you're doing that. Notice if there's actually anything you need to do or think about in this moment. And if not, if you could allow yourself to rest. Notice your body, your breathing. Tune in to any stillness. There might be busyness too, but notice if there's a sense of space or presence, of stillness. Attend to that as well. Enjoying what there is to enjoy right now in this moment. And then bring yourself back to your body, your breath. Notice what happens when you open your eyes and bring in the visual field. Notice if there's anything that you could enjoy as you're looking around. colors, particular objects that might be in the room, pictures, plants, the sky outside if you're seeing outside. Notice that we can always tune into this simple practice of relaxing and noticing what there is to enjoy.